another episode of Hello the Podcast. I am your host, Jayla, and I have a lovely guest today. I have Korri here. Korri is the author of The Loss of the Fire, and we're going to have a great conversation today. So Korri, introduce yourself for us.
Okay, so I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. Was raised in Kennesaw. Either way, I've been writing poetry since I was 13.
Okay.
After my mom gave me my first journal, I think she wanted me to get into journaling, and then I was like, this isn't working. And poems just seemed a lot easier.
Yeah.
And so I've been writing ever since then. I published my first book with my mom in 2020 during COVID, and then I put out this book this year for my birthday.
Nice. So, you wrote your first book, you're into poetry. So, with poetry, is that your way of expression, the way you express yourself, or is it more of a art form for you? Just kind of tell me what your journey has been like with poetry and writing, and how you got to the point where you're at now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like in the beginning it started as I just need to vent, or I just need to be able to say these thoughts that I'm feeling without judgment. Yeah. Because I was really, to me, I feel like I was very quiet when I started writing. I was in middle school, I was mad awkward.
Where we all?
Painfully awkward.
Yeah,
and
those moments that keep you up at night.
Right.
Why did I do that?
Girl, that was a choice. That was a choice that you made.
Absolutely.
And so I feel like I was just going through the phase of puberty and having crushes and having conflicts with friends and experiencing those things for the first time. And I was just some of these thoughts feel silly, but when I put them on paper, at least they just stay on the page.
Yeah.
And then I can go about my business. So it started like that. And then when I got to college, I went to school in Ohio, to the College of Worcester, which is it's a very, very small school. It's 3,000 students. The population is 10% black people.
Wow.
It's just complete culture shock. But some of the groups that I was in, a lot of people wrote spoken word and did slam poetry, and so that's kind of the time when it transitioned from okay, I'm venting to no, this is an art form. And I think that's when I started to kind of play with structure when it came to my work. And so that's mainly what this book is about. It's just the journey that I had through college, what that looked like, sort of my identity formation, and it became an opportunity for me to have these conversations with people with presenting the poems first. Okay, I feel these things, but I don't really know how to explain them to you, so here's a poem, and then we can just dive into what the issue is.
Okay, that's very nice. That's a good way of expressing it. I know some people they're listen to this song and then we'll talk.
Yes, I am that girl. I'm that dramatic. I feel.
Absolutely, I understand. It has to be that way sometimes. Absolutely. So today our topic, we're talking about cultivating and maintaining community, which obviously as black women, that's something very, very, very important. Having people like us, I feel just black womanhood is a community in itself. I feel safe around black women. That's just, I'm a black woman, so I like to see myself in other ways. So what has been your journey for, I guess, before realizing that was important to now, to realizing how important it is, and really striving to have a community?
So I feel there's 2 points that are really pivotal to me understanding community. I would say the first one is, so my mom went to an HBCU. She went to Morris Brown. Shout out to HBCUs, go Wolverines. But I feel so every year, it was a thing in our house, we went to homecoming.
Yeah.
And if most people don't know, Morris Brown went through this time period where they lost their accreditation. And so homecoming looked a little different than it did for other colleges. Growing up, it was just everybody that graduated was coming back, but there were not a lot of incoming students. So it wasn't for a younger crowd. It was mainly just I like to describe it as like the old head homecoming. Like everybody's just like grilling. It's very like cookout vibes. Like there's kids running around. Very kid friendly time.
Yeah. The whole thing is a tailgate.
Yeah, essentially that is literally it. But I think like just growing up, like the consistency of like having the same spot on the yard every year, seeing the same faces, and like as we continue to grow up and grow older, like just understanding like, wow, like these people have really known my mom for like 20 plus years, which means that they have known me since I was quite literally a fetus. And so like it's just to see like seasons change people, but like there's still some form of consistency was really important. I think that was the first moment. The second one, everybody's gonna say this, but I think it was like post-COVID. I feel like throughout COVID there was a lot of like normalizing of like, hey, I'm just checking in on you, girl, like I know we all inside, but like, are you good? And just like having very difficult conversations, especially with like George Floyd happening and Ahmaud Arbery, and like black people just being like enraged but also like isolated, and also just like experiencing this cabin fever. It was just like, overall, what are we supposed to do? And then you get out of COVID, quote unquote, it's very much still happening, but the world starts trying to like become normal again, and people are now asking these questions of like, okay, I noticed that like I isolated myself for so long, like how do I undo all of that damage? How do I make friends is like the most simple question people are asking. But I think the more important question that has kind of like revealed itself as time goes on is like, no, but how am I maintaining my community afterwards? Because like making friends is cute, easy, calm, cool. All you need to do, well, not all you need to, but like as you place yourself in different environments, like as you go to a new job, or like you normally go to the same coffee shop every week, or like the things that are your habits are how you cultivate your community, and like how you make friends, but like the maintenance of that looks completely different, I think.
So you talked about the importance of community, or when you first realized community was important. So tell me a little bit about your own community now and how you create that now.
It's kind of interesting. I feel like I'm still in the middle of it, but not. There's a lot of transition happening in my life right now. So quite honestly, like I feel like the past couple months there's been a shift in like what my community looks like, but overall I think I'm at a space where like I'm trying to have deeper conversations with my friends. Like I kind of made that commitment to myself earlier this year, that I was just like, I really want to make sure that like I am talking to people beyond like the general things of just like work sucks, dating also sucks, and like life overall. So like I don't know, I think as people grow and continue to like dive into their own goals, like I just want to make sure that we are holding each other accountable and supporting each other in ways that like we can help each other out. I will say post-college community is really difficult.
I can agree.
Like I feel like it's kind of spread out all over the world at this point, which is kind of crazy because you are like placed in these like intentional groups like throughout your childhood, and then you get to this point where like life is like, okay, now disperse.
No, go away from each other.
And so I think it's like I have a very small, tight-knit community, especially when it comes to Black women. Like I have never been like super great at having female friends. So the ones that I do have, I feel like I like hold on really tight. Like please don't go. And I've always been like very tomboyish, so like I have more guy friends, which has its pros and cons. I feel like when I go through moments of hardship, like my community picks me up in ways that I don't realize. So like I've always been the type to like, I'm not gonna really ask people for help, like I'm not gonna say anything, and I think that my friends know that about me. So like they will just get in front of it and be like, hey girl, so you haven't been outside, so you know, get dressed, get your things, we're going here, like don't worry about the money.
Yeah.
That's not the problem. Like,
Yeah.
worry about yourself. And like, just being there and like being in the space. I think my friends know what I need at all different times. I think there's just always space for me to be like absolutely the person that I am, like wholeheartedly. Even the bits of myself that I'm still just kind of like, don't know if I like that girl.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. I think they even embrace those things about me, which like I've always kind of yearned for. And I like, at this point, like I think all of my closer friends know that like I consider them to be family at this point. And I just, so those are nice things. As I come into adulthood, I'm like, oh wow, I like really don't have anything to worry about. And I think like all of the best opportunities that I have that come from my life, like literally are a direct source to people in my community. And I just try to continue to be a person that can pour that back into them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's lovely. I love to hear that. With me, that's something I'm like working on, is getting a community. My goddess mom told me when we met, I was like turning 26, and she was like, that is number 8, like 6 plus 2 is 8, so it's like your life number, like during that time. And she was like, 8 is the number of like big change and big things happening.
It's been changing.
Oh,
it's been doing things.
Great. And then the change that has been happening is like,
that's not what I asked
I don't know if that's what I meant. So but at the same time, it's like I understand. Like I did ask for community, I did ask for all these things. So life was like, okay, girl, but you gotta clean out first.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So now I'm like, I feel like I can take in now.
Yes, and that is literally what I was talking about earlier. Like when I tell you, so okay, I'll start by saying I started a new job like a month ago. And I was saying off camera, like I got laid off in June. So I get laid off in June.
I got laid off in August, girl.
Layoffs. Let me tell you, the experience of going through a layoff
is terrible.
Is probably one of the most terrifying but freeing things.
Yeah, absolutely.
That could happen to you. It's like, oh, I get to rest, but also I'm resting because I'm no longer making money.
Exactly.
And like you have to like kind of battle with the idea that you were like essentially a slave to capitalism.
Yeah.
But it's a whole other thing.
Yeah, another conversation.
But I think the crazy part was like my community really held me down during that time.
Tell me about what you're doing right now.
Okay. Well, a few things. Just like job, non-job.
Yeah.
I'll start professionally first. I recently started working with Atlanta Track Club through their volunteer unit, and so I've been helping coordinate their volunteers for all of the races that we put on in the city.
Nice.
So that's been really nice, just because I feel like I've been like praying/manifesting for an opportunity that will allow me to like give back to the Atlanta community more. I think it's kind of ironic that I'm back in the running space. Because track was just like a part of my life for so long.
Yeah.
I didn't really see it being a part of my life like forever and ever. I was just like, I ran in college, and then I ended it there, and that was the closed book. And then I guess life was like, just kidding, girl.
Welcome back.
Right. So it's been really nice. Still very fresh, but I'm excited to see where that goes. And then outside of that, I started writing my first TV show. So I'm like, I'm like, I don't know. I'm the type of person where I'm like, I'm just gonna write the project. If nothing happens with it, that's totally okay.
Yeah.
But it's been really fun and new, because I used to work in the documentary space. So like I was in unscripted for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
When people would tell me about like writing a TV show, I'm like, love that for you. I don't know. Like writing fiction just seems very like off-putting to me, or at least it used to. But I think one of the things that happened when I did end up like publishing my book is like my mind kind of just like was free to start creating things again. And like I've been writing poetry, but it's not as much as I was before. And I think like right now my creativity is just calling for me to just tell this story. So I'm really excited about that.
That is exciting. So career-wise in the future, what would you like to do? Like, tell me about like, I don't know, maybe like the next 5 years.
Next 5 years? Great question. No answer.
All right.
I feel like the only reason why is because I thought, like, I was just convinced that 5-10 years from now, I was going to be like an EP, and not to say, or an executive producer, not to say that thing won't happen, but I am just not in a space where I desire that. I also I don't know, the only goal that I have for my career right now is to make sure that I am giving back to people and like taking better care of the Black community. Like, that has always been something that matters the most to me, and making sure that we are like coming together even through like our states of division. And so just like having more spaces like where folks can be educated and like take care of themselves, and like health has become really big for me lately as well. So like providing spaces like where people can relieve stress, because we all know that like stress is the number one killer, and it's doing her big one. With all these things going on. So I think the only thing that I really want to do in my career at this current point is just make sure that I am like a part of taking care of other people.
So here on the podcast, we talk about intersectionality. That is our main key point here at Hello. So can you talk about what intersectionality means to you? And obviously now with something like the election, why it's important for people to know.
I mean, I think that everybody views intersectionality very differently, but I've always kind of viewed it as like these different bits that like you can't ever fully separate them, because they bring a full image together and inform people's decisions and like the way like that their purview works. So like I think it just like, I don't know, it introduces like so much complexity when it comes to dealing with people that I really enjoy. Like, I know like for me, like my identity is like a Black, straight, Christian, quote unquote, woman is like, it goes here, but like it might be a little bit limited. So it's like I have to kind of depend on people who experience a different identity to like understand or like open up my own mind. So like I've always like made it extremely clear to my friends that like, hey, by the way, I might say this completely fucking wrong. I'm like, because I don't have this experience, but like I know that you have this experience, and that will help me be a better individual. I mean, I'm just like, girl, come on over. We take all the weirdos, all the different folks, all the like, I don't care. Like, I think it makes your community richer. I think that it will open you up to just experiencing so much more. And like, I don't know, I've always just been a big advocate of like consistently learning, and I think that like I learn best through other people and like conversations with other people. And for that, like I'm just very grateful that like I feel like in the past 10 years we've been embracing the idea of intersectionality more. Like, I didn't really always understand that like all women don't think the same, because there is another layer under that,
right.
Especially like being a Black woman. So it's like there, like even the way that we view history and like our rights are completely different from like white women. And that is just like something that sort of branches off and demands us to have more conversations about unifying each other, even though we do have different experiences. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I always think of intersectionality as like, it's a very specific niche to you. Like you just said, Black woman, Christian, straight, like me being a Black woman who's gay, like it's a different intersection, even though we meet at Black women. So but it's still like the same fight in a lot of ways. And I feel like in history, it's been difficult for like Black men maybe specifically to like understand that fight, because it's like, well, we're fighting another fight on top of like we had to fight for our rights as black people, but as women we still didn't have the right to vote. So then we had to still fight for our rights as women, and then white women won that one. And then we had to fight for our rights as specifically black women to have the right. So it's always an extra layer to the fight.
Yeah, I think that the way that Trump's presidency like polarized the nation also provided this interesting space for people to be more proud of all facets of their identity, but also be more expressive of all facets of their identity. So like we have more people just talking about more nuanced experience of like, yeah, like I'm a suburban black girl. Yeah. Like that is something that has become like a specific niche and specific experience. Yeah. And like social media plays a part in this, and like giving us platforms to relate on these things that we thought were incredibly like just specific to us. Yeah. I'll also say like in my book, I talk a lot about like getting diagnosed with general anxiety disorder and like severe depression. That was like maybe one of the main things that prompted me to continue to write more and more. Yeah. Because I just really like couldn't grasp like that my brain was essentially not playing tricks on me. Well, it felt like it. Pretty much. Yeah. My brain set up too. Yeah. Essentially.
Had to cry.
Yeah.
Because that's what it feels like.
And like just like going through the process of like being medicated and what that feels like. And like being somebody with anxiety, like I feel like I not made the mistake, but I added that onto my identity. And I think it's a thing that a lot of black women do. Like they're just like, yeah, and also I have anxiety. Yeah. Like also I'm mad anxious. Yeah. All the time. Like all the time. Yeah. And so I just think that as we continue to go through these difficult chapters, these like traumatic events after traumatic events, we still are like leaning deeper into the pride that we have of like ourselves and like where we come from. And I think that allows us to diversify our communities in ways that we don't quite expect. Yeah. But yeah.
Agreed, absolutely. It does kind of feel like a niche. It does start to feel like that, like the suburban black girl thing. Because I feel like even growing up, like we all had the suburban black girl experience. Like we grew up in the same community, but at the time it was not something like we thought to talk about. So it does feel polarizing. It does feel like you're the only person going through that. Just because like it's not something you talk about. You're not like, girl, we're suburban black girls. Like in the moment, it doesn't feel like that.
But I will also say, knowing us and like also the black women that we spent time around, I don't think that like I thought of us as suburban black girls. Like I thought of us as just like girls who just ended up in the suburbs and now we're just here. Like when I think of suburban black girls, I think of like the terminology of like Oreos and like black girls that like want to associate themselves with white women. Like I think that is what I thought of for a very long time.
And we had those too.
We did. A good chunk. Yeah. And like the girls who like can't dance, like I never aligned with that girl. Like I can do a little two-step, not too much on me. Speak for yourself. Right. Literally.
I feel like even like in my experience and like your experience, like you grew up like in track, and then me, I grew up in dance, and in dance most of the other girls were white all the time. I think when I moved, like even moving from Alabama to here, when I moved here, that was the first time that I really had like other black girls like, in my dance classes and things like that. So it was just, it's a niche experience, like especially in doing something like a ballet. Like my black girl body isn't the same as, you know, a European body. And ballet is very European central, like especially in, you know, the posture and the turnout, the body, and even what we wear. So it's just very different. And I'm sure you have some type of experience that you can relate to, like track with that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's different, but it's kind of the same still. It's just like different. I don't know, but like the home life, I feel like that definitely adds another.
Yeah, because there's like even like there are just different expectations within your Black girlhood.
Yeah.
That we experience that are like completely separate.
Yeah.
Like I know, like me growing up, like my expectations that were placed on me. My mom, so like I grew up with a single mom, and like her expectation was just like I go to school, I get great grades, like I don't have a job. Like that was something that I found out later on that was not normal. Most parents were pushing their kids to go get a job, and she was just like, no, you need to focus on your schoolwork. Like that was the thing that makes sense. Which I think is like, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Because once you start working, it doesn't end. So I'm glad that she like held that off for as long as possible. But also like I have friends that, you know, like I was talking about earlier, who are like their parents immigrated here, and like they had like harsher lifestyles in a sense than what I did. And so like there are conversations there where like we're gonna have a different understanding of like what our Black girlhood, specifically our suburban Black girlhood, represents. Like the way that we behave and the way that we interacted with other people was even different based on the lessons that our parents are teaching us. And so I think that also ties into like now, present day, like I have so many friends who like all of our home lives were completely different because like maybe their parents are from Nigeria or Ghana or Jamaica, and I think that that's such a beautiful thing that we get to experience Blackness like in a diasporic way, as we continue to like take pride in heritage and those things.
So we're gonna have you pick your 2 segments. Thank you so much for our great conversation. Now we're gonna move on to our segments. So you're gonna pick a ball.
Okay.
And then you're gonna open it, and then I'll tell you what the segment is.
Okay. Ooh, cute.
And we're gonna do 2. So we'll do the first one, and then we'll do the second one.
Okay. Okay. This is actually such a cute way to set up the segment. Not gonna lie. It's like, ooh, what is it? Jayla's Jams.
Okay.
I feel like I'm gonna like this. I'm gonna like it.
So Jayla's Jams is a segment we do here on the show where you say something in the past week, month, or however long that you have just really been digging. It's just like the best thing ever. It could be music, it could be a book, it could be a principle, it could be anything. Anything you can think of that you're just like, ooh, I just love that right now.
Okay. So now that it is fall time, I'm back to being a lover girl, R&B girly. I have been listening to Leon Thomas's new project. I'm going to forget the name of what it's called, but the particular record in general that is like setting me to an astral plane is Yes It Is, because I didn't even know that they could still make R&B like that. And I'm just like, wow. I'm like, I'm a lover for real. Like, I am a yearner. Like, yes, this is it.
Yeah. But he puts his foot in everything he does.
He really does. I also was watching him, so I'm rewatching Insecure.
Okay.
And I was watching him be a little baby on Insecure, and I'm like, how did you go from this to really getting in the booth and like destroying these people? Yeah. But yeah, that project is so good.
Yeah, love him. And it's so funny because I saw a post and it was like, a backyard game produced this. I was like, you better not reduce it to a backyard.
Not too much.
Not Andre.
Not too much on Andre.
Not from August Rush. Like, please.
Not
he
too
has
much.
been.
Not from Victorious.
Don't
try.
Please don't do it.
Don't
like
do
that.
it.
Please don't do it like that. Leon Thomas III. I've had enough. I remember one time, I think he performed or something at one of the festivals in Utah, and then he was at Town Center, and I saw him. But I was so nervous. I could not do it. And my dad was like, just go up to him. Like, he's taking pictures with people.
Oh my goodness.
Like,
no, you
I
didn't.
can't do it.
No.
I never did.
I will actually never forget. This is so unrelated, but I will make it very brief. I remember I was in Ohio. I was flying back home. And I was walking. And I saw this dude. And I was like, he looks so fucking familiar. Like, I can't place it. And he winked at me. And I was like, it's Daniel Kaluuya. I lost.
He knew that you knew.
He knew that I knew.
Right.
And he knew that he didn't want to be seen.
Right.
But he knew that I knew that I saw him.
Right. Yeah.
Also, I will say he's so fine.
Yeah.
In person, though.
Really? Jeanette.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
So gorgeous.
Cool.
Anyways.
So I guess I'll say my jam now.
Mm-hmm.
My jam. I'm gonna say platforms.
Ooh.
Platforms will be my jam. Don't look at my social. My platforms will be my jam forever. Any type of platform. A sandal, a clog, a boot. I love a
always
platform.
been such a good like fashion girly. Like I always remember that about you. I was like, Jayla really can dress. Like wow, she's so creative, like so expressive.
Yes, that's one thing my parents did give me good, like good fashion. So it's funny now because like I'm like playing around with more stuff like patterns and things like that. Cause
But you've always been like that.
well, thank you. Well, my mom did dress me for a long time. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, I just had to. What really messed me up was working from home because I never had dress at all.
As most of us do.
After that is when I like was like, okay, we're gonna get back into our bag with fashion. So yeah,
mine was like being a tomboy. Like I think I like was just so oriented in like being a tomboy for so long.
Yeah,
I got to this point where I was just like, wait, we could actually care about our appearance. That could be a thing that we do, girl.
Yeah.
And I think that's when it started to kind of come together. I mean, my style is still very like baggy clothing, and like cozy fits. Yeah. But I can put it on when I need to.
Yeah.
And that's what matters.
Yeah. And like, look at the stems. The stems always have good fashion sense. Like,
yeah, they do.
They look nice, and it's like a tomboy mix. So.
I'm like, I don't know, but even my wardrobe isn't fully tomboyish. Like, it's still like there's still very girly elements. I think I'm more of like 90s Aaliyah is like what is always happening. Like I want like the fitted crop top, even if it looks a little tomboy, it's still like cute. Yeah, I love a crop top with cargos. I got a crop top on right now. Yep, cute. All right, so let's do one more. Yay! Is it spinning? Let's see. This is good. Okay, don't piss me off. Okay. Oh no. Okay. So what's funny is these were our original segments. So Don't Piss Me Off is our segment, which is basically the opposite of Jayla's Jams, where you talk about something in the last week, month, however long, that has just irked you, pet peeve, that you just don't piss me off. Like it's just irritating you. Just get it off your mental. I'm trying. Okay. Because like, what would I like to talk about? I will say I do get irked. Yeah. Quickly, but to keep it culturally relevant. Yeah. I was watching the most recent season of Love Is Blind. This has been a rough one, y'all. I don't even watch Love Is Blind, but I basically know everything. I think. Ooh, actually, yes. Here we go. Okay, I think that we need to stop allowing, like, we need to stop making it okay for women to be mean and that be a part of their personality. No, bitch, you're just fucking mean. Yeah. And I want you to look at me when I tell you this. It's making you ugly. Yeah. It's making you ugly. Ugly and bitter. Yeah. And broke. Yeah. And it's annoying as fuck. Just be nice. It's actually not that fucking hard to be considerate of people. And I'm really sick of you. Yeah. And that's it. Direct to camera. Y'all heard her. Don't piss her off, okay? I'm assuming you're talking about Hannah. Yes, but also, like, I didn't like how Marissa was like, she's a bitch. That's okay. Yeah. That's not okay. I was like, Marissa, why are you taking it for her? Like, you literally... I don't watch Love Is Blind. I didn't watch the reunion, but I saw, like, all the snippets and stuff. Like, I saw the recaps and everything, and people talking about it. I was like, And I specifically have this smoke for white women. Yeah. I specifically have this smoke for white women. That's why I'm like, why are you taking it for her? Because she's a bitch to me too. Because that's not okay. Yeah. I feel like there's always the trope of like angry black women, and we have to fight against that so hard. Even if we're not, people like, it's just like our presence is scary. But there are some women out there who are just mean intentionally, on purpose. Girl, go talk to the lady. Go get on that couch. quickly because
it don't even have to be like that.
it's just like, have you never got your ass beat? Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Like, I'm confused.
Probably.
Maybe that's it. I don't know.
No,
but it's just like, it's really bothering me.
I think mine. It's gonna be good. I don't know. Is it?
It's gonna be good. I feel it. Just start somewhere, because it'll grow as you continue
What I was thinking about was Tory Lanez.
Oh, child.
That pissed me off. Yeah. You know, Meg documentary.
I did watch it. Love my girl down bad.
We'll say toxic masculinity. Don't piss me off. Because for one, she didn't deserve to get shot. But for two, for people to say like he should have shot her in the head.
Yeah, crazy.
He should have finished the job.
Crazy.
Like, because she twerks, that's really sick. That's really sick.
Y'all be the same ones, like, watching the videos over and over. You got it bookmarked. Like, I'm so genuinely, authentically confused.
Yeah.
It's just like,
the same one's talking about mental health, the same one's talking about men, domestic violence, the same one's talking about women beat men. So it's like, neither is okay. Why?
like, we never said either was okay.
Right. What? I don't know. It's just like the defenses they have is like, okay, but that's not okay either. Like,
No.
I don't know what you want me to say here.
My personal favorite is the men who actually aren't checking their homeboys.
Oh.
So,
Yeah.
or like, you just kind of like let shit slide all the time. Like,
Right.
LeBron James, I'm specifically talking about you.
Yeah. Stand up. Stand
While
up.
all this Tory stuff is going on, and you're aware and you're trying to act like you're not.
Yeah.
Talking about, yeah, Tory, the best R&B artist out there. First of all of the accolades and like the like fandom that Tory was getting, I will say, is directly attributed to work from the early 2000s and him remixing that.
Yep.
Him finding ways to basically get rich off of that.
Yep.
But y'all saying that he's the best R&B artist, are we for real? Where is the originality? You heard a remix and thought that was the hottest shit you ever heard. How about you just go listen to the original? I don't know. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, your taste questionable.
In music being enough for you to then
To
decide to
justify
shooting somebody, but also just go ahead and like unveil how much you hate black women.
Yep.
I really wish that y'all would actually lead with
Just
that.
say I hate women.
I
hate women.
wish y'all would lead with that information so I can just be aware as to how to move around you. And to honestly just go ahead and block you and remember that you don't exist and you're not your friend. So that's really,
Yeah. Great. Don't piss us off.
Don't piss us off, basically. Thanks.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Of course, thanks for having me. This is so
Yes. Definitely pick up your copy of The Loss of the Fire.
Of course.
Well, by Kleo. That's her pen name.
That's her name.
Yes, by Kleo. We love it. So cute. It's very cute, but we're going to get you guys a little close up of it. But yes, thank you for coming. Where can the people find you?
So you can find my poetry work at _Kleo said on Instagram, and then my personal is Korri Palmer Palmer on Instagram, and that's really it. Actually,
Where can they pick up a copy?
Amazon. Not really if you don't want to buy from Jeff Bezos. Really anywhere, like Barnes and Nobles has it. The publishing company is Ex Libris. If you live in like the Metro Atlanta area, I do have hard copies that I can also sell, and I make more of a profit that way if you want to support black women. So I would love that.
Yeah, support black business, support black authors.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Yay.
Yay.
So we had such a good time, and that's it. And we'll see you next time on Hello. Oh, you can find us at Hello the Podcast on everything. All right, bye.
Bye.